All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bros Who Close.
Let's go.
Wow, it's been a while. I know we've been kind of MIA for a bit.
3 months,
3
exactly.
months. What were we doing? Busy just fucking around or actually doing deals?
I think we're pretty much fucking around. We were busy, guys. No, we were busy. We've got a few exciting things coming up down the pipeline. That's what we were busy with, actually.
Yeah, so we're actually at a party at Saurabh's place on the Canada Day weekend.
Yeah.
And we had a few people come over, and people were just kind of busting our balls about Bros Who Close. They're like, yo, you guys haven't posted in so long. What the fuck is going on? Where's the next episode? And Saurabh and I looked at each other. We're feeling a little guilty, and we're like, okay.
Right away, we kind of texted
We're like, okay,
our guy.
We texted our guy, and we're like, yo, we gotta film more episodes. So
And next week, here we are.
next week, here we are. That's the power of execution.
So we're going to talk about, we'll kind of start with, because it's been a while, and I think one of the things that we want to talk about is, what we're kind of seeing in the market and market conditions, what we have done as a team to stay ahead of this market, some of the new tools that we're using to stay ahead of this market, and just like grassroots real estate, really.
Yeah, a lot of people, like 2024 was a pretty tough. No, we're in 2024 was a tough year.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone thought, okay, 2024 is going to be a write-off, and 2025 is when things are going to pick up, and we're going to do all this business, and everyone's going to make $1 million. Lo and behold, 2025 is also slow. It's one of the slowest years we've had in record. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are struggling. A lot of agents are struggling, and we're doing fine.
This year, we're actually in track to do, as a team, we're in track to do better than we did last year.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was actually talking to one of my builder clients, yesterday, actually. And one of the things that we were talking about the exact same thing, like how 2024 was a complete shit year.
Yeah.
But then hindsight would go back to 2024
Yeah.
and sell all the condos that we could, because we just got way better pricing last year than we're getting this year.
Yeah.
So again, hindsight, we should have just sold everything last year, but we didn't.
Yeah, let's pull up the stats, because I was looking at it right before we started this podcast, just so we have a little bit more context, right? So we're at active listings at 31,000. I remember last year, 2024, when I tracked Treb stats every month, and I'm always looking at stats, and I'm always looking at active listings, and I'm looking at the number of sales, because that's one of the metrics that we look at, months of inventory. And I remember thinking, holy shit, we're at 20,000 active listings. This is fucking crazy. And I thought once we hit 20,000, it was going to be over. The market was going to, go down, and, it was going to be, everyone was wondering, like everyone in real estate is like 20,000 active listings is pretty insane. And now we're here at 31,000 listings.
It's crazy, man.
That's, what is this? 30% increase from exactly a year ago. And so how are, what are we seeing from sellers right now and buyers? Like, okay, so active listings, 31,000. What does that mean?
Yeah, so there's a lot of choices out there for buyers. That's what it really comes down to, right? So if you're a buyer in this market, it's an amazing time to buy, because you've just got a lot to choose from. However, I think even if you're a buyer, you're still having, depending on which area, where you're going, what kind of product you're trying to buy, but you got to find motivated sellers as well at the same time. So yes, you're a buyer, you've got choices or whatever have you. There's still some sellers out in the market who are not just in line with the pricing, because the reality is pricing keeps going down every month. That's what we've been seeing, like compared to even last year. We were just talking about that. We've seen a massive decrease in pricing. So I think a lot of sellers are just having a harder time adjusting to the fact that they just, every month that they're waiting, the pricing keeps going up. Prime example, we're putting up this condo in Burlington.
Yeah.
We talked to the sellers last year. We gave them a price they didn't like.
Yeah.
They waited. We gave them a price again in January. They didn't like.
Yeah.
We waited again. And then here we are in June. That condo is now probably worth $50,000 less than what we quoted them last year.
Yeah.
And now we're going to sell.
The moral of the story here is this, right? This particular client as well, I mean, there's a lot of nuances there of what's going on.
Of course.
But I think when you think about it, when people say, hey, where's the market going to go? The reality is nobody knows, right? People look to us as we hold this crystal ball, but we really don't. We can only give people our advice as of today. When somebody comes to us and says, hey, what's the value of my property? one of the things we always say at listing presentations when we're talking to clients is, hey, this is the value of a property as of now.
That's right.
It could change next week. And next year we have no idea. Right? It could go up, down, sideways, in a different dimension. We have no clue. But we can only advise you of what it's worth now. And we do the same thing with the other clients, right?
Yep.
This particular one you're talking about, it's too bad because last year maybe they would have probably made a little bit of money.
Oh, 100%.
But, now they're going to lose quite a lot. And that brings me to my next point is even sellers don't know, right? Sellers like to guess, my property is worth this if I wait another year or if I wait 6 more months. But the reality is nobody knows what's going to happen.
No, nobody knows, right? We're just living in very uncertain times. Again, going back to this one client that I was talking with, we were talking about rates. I'm just like, you know what? Nobody's talking about rates anymore. I think rates are fine at this point.
Yeah.
We're in the 4s in terms of rates.
Right.
Again, like the artificial rates that we had during COVID of 0%.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck it was at that point. Those are just unrealistic rates.
Yeah, the complete outliers.
Complete outliers, right? So now the rates are fine. The rates are still comparatively affordable. You're not in the 5s and 6s anymore. You're back down to the 4s. Maybe it goes down to the 3s at some point, but rates are fine. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty in the market where buyers are just not, pulling triggers quick enough. However, having said that, there's still a lot of buyers out there that are in the sidelines that are waiting to transact. It'll be very interesting, however, for us to find out, and we're starting to see that, right? Everything that we sold this year and even last year, they're all end users.
Yeah. It's only end users buying right now because it's such a good time. I mean, look, even with the rates being where they are now, they're historically, especially compared to the last couple of years, pretty low. But, from an investment standpoint, everyone's so gun shy because nothing is cash flowing, right? And right now is such a good time to buy. I'll share this stat because I track this month over month. Just for context, we said earlier the months of the active listings were at 30,000 right now. Take a guess how much they were in 2022.
Under about 10.
So 2022, active listings were 16,000.
16, okay.
2021, active listings were 11,000.
Okay.
Okay, so almost it's triple than what it was in 2021. So think about if you're a buyer, right, and you're in 2021, and you're out shopping, and you're like, oh my God, rates are so low, and which is fine, which is great, right? And then you're competing. Remember, shit boxes were selling for like 100,000 over asking, and people were competing for bidding wars. And now we've got over 7 months of inventory for condos. So for context, months of inventory means how long it would take if no new condos came to the market. It would take 7 months for all the existing condos to be sold. And now they're sitting at 7. Back then it was less than 2 months, or actually a month. So it would take less than a month for all the condos to be absorbed. And now it's 7 months. So we're in a heavy buyer's market.
Yeah.
Never a better time. And what Saurabh said earlier, interest rates are at a pretty decent rate right now, historically speaking. So if you're a buyer and you're wondering, is this the right time? Then you need to just look at stats and just look at numbers and go based and make an educated decision. And I think that ties it back to what agents need to do now is to educate their clients.
100% goes without saying, right? It's they need to educate clients. They need to just go out there and network.
Yeah.
And talk to as many people as possible. Again, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We're just having to work, 4 times as hard to get the same buyer or get the same motivated seller to come to the market. You know what's missing, again, in this market is, because we talk about, one lucky thing about our business is we're able to pivot back and forth quite a bit, right? So during COVID times, we pivoted to pre-con, and then when we started seeing the shift in pre-con, we pivoted pretty quickly, to resale to keep the lights on, really. And one of the things that's truly missing from this market that was fueling this market, even on the pre-construction side, is speculators. Right? We just don't have speculators anymore. Even on the pre-con side, people that are buying, they're not, I don't know how many people are actually buying for the purpose of investment.
Right.
They're buying because, their kids are going to go to school in the next 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and there's some good deals out there in the marketplace, or they're end users buying low-rise homes that'll be ready in the next 12 to 18 months. And speculators are missing. So I think for this market to truly come back to, a quote unquote balanced market, we would need some of these investors to come back. And for the investors to come back, we're going to have to start seeing some price improvements, both in terms of resale prices going up and pre-construction prices further coming down.
Yeah, because if we were talking to somebody about this last week, the delta between pre-construction prices and resale prices are absolutely insane, right? So, for example, downtown Toronto right now, you can buy a resale condo, relatively newish, let's just say 5 years or so old. You can buy it for less than around $1,000 a foot.
Even less.
Even less.
We did a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo for under beautiful, right at Caprio Court, under $700K for almost an 808, just 820.
But that's an older condo.
Older condo, yes.
I'm talking new because we want to compare close
Right.
to apples to apples.
Yeah,
Right? So let's just say new condo around $900 to $1,000, right? Is
$1,000
that fair?
Yeah.
Average. A brand new condo that's selling now and that were sold a few years ago, they were selling at $1,500 to $1,600 a square foot, right? So that's $400 to $500 a square foot. So that means, each 100 square foot is $400,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of price difference.
100,000.
Sorry, $100,000.
Yeah.
That's the kind of price difference we're thinking about. So think about from an end user's perspective or even an investor's perspective. Why would anybody want to buy a new construction right now versus resale, right? And then to Saurabh's point, investors are only going to come back if they can justify the return on investment, the numbers. And right now, the numbers just don't make sense with pre-con.
It does not make any sense for pre-con. However, you're starting to see some builders really truly adjust to the market and come back, right? So we've got, we're looking at a few projects right now, under $1,000 a foot. Of course, not in the core Toronto neighborhood, but right outside. Actually, even in core Toronto neighborhood, you're starting to see some, at Etobicoke, we've got some, I know one of our clients out in Burlington, he's got some product out there. So there's some really good deals out in the pre-con market as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like, builders that are willing to do deals, that are coming to the table and just looking at offers. So even for the pre-con side, just because you see a listed price, that does not mean that that's what you're going to pay. I would just go and just negotiate and see what you can get out of it ultimately. And same on the resale side. However, I think a lot of the deals that we're finding right now is also on builders' inventory.
Oh, yeah.
So inventory is, these are things that, sold 3-4 years ago. They've completed. Builders still holding on to the inventory, and they're just motivated to sell. And it's very different than a regular, mom and pop seller, because they've got one condo to sell, and they may be sticky on pricing because, that's their investment. However, from a builder standpoint, for the most part, a lot of these inventories from the builder standpoint, these are strictly profit.
Yeah.
And, you're able to go and negotiate great deals, on the inventory side.
I think everybody needs to get creative and pivot, right? So for agents, if you're not pivoting based on the market conditions, right? I'm not even talking about picking up your phone and calling your sphere, your COI, people that right? I'm just outside of that. If you're not pivoting to the market, if you were only selling pre-con and you maybe got in the business in 2021 and you were just selling pre-construction and now you're complaining about, I can't sell anything. Well, it's time to start doing resale because that's where the market is. And even leases, right? Right now, leases are big. And a lot of agents don't want to do leases for whatever reason, but tenants become buyers.
100%.
And that's where a lot of people have built their business on the basis of just doing rentals.
Yeah.
And if you are a buyer or seller, you need to pivot with the market, right? And you need to see, okay, if you're a seller, maybe you don't get $1 million for your property, depending on where you are, right? And we just sold a property of our own that we could have gotten at the peak $1 million.
More than $1 million,
more
man.
Than $1 million.
Don't remind me.
Right? And now we ended up selling it for just under $7 million.
Yeah.
And, for us too, it was like, okay, what's the next opportunity? Is the next opportunity a better opportunity, right? And so you can't just be fixated on a price and think about the good old days. You have to think about, okay, what's the next move? Is the next move a better move? forget about the past because you can't change that. What can I do now that I have in control over that I can pivot to make some changes?
Yeah.
And then buyers also need to pivot and figure out, okay, do I go to the builder to negotiate a deal, right? Where is the smart move? You can't just sit around, wait and complain. I think what you need to do is be smart, think about what others are doing or not doing, and then pretty much do the opposite, right? If the news is telling you it's doom and gloom and crash, then think about why people are saying that and what's really happening in the market, right? And also for the builders, they're also pivoting, right? A lot of builders are offering deals. So I think the moral of this entire thing is to be always constantly pivoting and finding solutions to get things done.
Absolutely. And for buyers, especially right now, like the market is like, there's very few times in the Toronto market where I do not remember competing.
Right.
When I'm on the buying side. On the selling side, there's very few times where, again, I do not remember not getting multiple offers.
Yeah.
So, however, these last couple of years, it's, as a, we get on the listing side a lot more these time, and the team does a lot of the buying. But, on the listing side, we're having to chase agents over and over and over and over again. Yeah. I remember, every deal the last deal that I did, I must have chased his agent probably close to 20 times. At the end of it, he's like, dude, I'm like, listen, man, like, this is the right condo for your buyers. Like, you got to come and buy it. And I've been chasing this dude for 3 months before he put something on paper with the same buyer.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if you're on the listing side, yes, just of course, you're going to keep getting showings, but, don't forget those buyers are still out there. The same buyers are out there. So just keep chasing the same agents over and over again because they're still in the market.
Yeah.
And, it's an interesting fact, just pivoting back, there was an interesting fact that, I was talking to one of the sellers the other day, and they're like, so what's, how am I able to sell my home, or how am I able to sell my condo? And I said, right now it's a multitude of everything, right? So we gotta market the property, stage it, right? Stage the property right. We gotta market it right, and then we gotta price it cheap. I think that's really the only thing that, even we sold our own property, we didn't stage it because we sold with furniture and all that, but we marketed it right, and we were the cheapest waterfront property in the market by almost 5%. So, and we sold it in 5 days.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was, and there's a property sitting there still over 3 months, not selling.
Yeah.
So if you're
by the way, which is only going to hurt that property, when it does end up getting a buyer, because it's been sitting on the market for that long.
Absolutely, right? And
you got to be a market seller in this market.
You got to be a market seller. We had just 2 sales recently of detached homes. Same thing. One took about 30 days to sell. However, the seller there was, we were trying out a price. We thought that we could probably get it, but we pivoted very quickly. Even though it took 30 days for us to sell that property, which in today's market, I don't think that's a very long time. But we were constantly doing something to be able to generate interest with that property. We got a offer within the first 2 days. We didn't take it. It was just way too low.
Yeah.
And then we did a price adjustment in 2 weeks, and then did another adjustment in 2 weeks later, and then we ended up selling quickly. The second property that we got an offer within the first 48 hours, and we were done by the end of the week. So again, but those properties were staged to the nines, they were marketed well, and they were priced extremely well.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of reminds me is, if you're an agent that's struggling right now, I'm telling you right now, you got to do open houses.
Oh my God.
Because open houses is where there's literal gold sitting. And I know a lot of people don't like doing open houses for whatever reason. It's really bizarre. And you'd be surprised by this, but condo open houses actually do incredibly well. The amount of deals that we've done on our team just from sitting open houses.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's been crazy. I think probably, I would say, we got 8, maybe 6 or 7 deals.
Yeah, this year.
Just from open houses, right? And condos too. So now you might be thinking, well, I don't have any listings to sit open houses. Well, reach out to agents in your brokerage or your network and see, hey, because not every listing agent wants to do an open house, but it's a value add for the seller.
Absolutely.
If the listing agent says, hey, we'll do open houses for you, and then you are a value add to that agent saying, hey, I'll sit your open house if you have an open house or if you have a listing. The open houses are so great because these are people that are coming into the home to look at who are low-hanging fruit. These are people who are actually in the market.
Yes.
A lot of them are just about to pull the trigger to actually buy. They're probably going through the pre-approval process. And in a lot of cases, they don't have an agent, right? And if they see you and they like you and you give them value at the open house, then you can easily do secure deals. So, we have agents on the team that are doing open houses every single weekend. And that's the only source of business they're able to generate business from.
And it's a good point. The thing about open house is also consistency, right? I was talking to one of our team members, and it was same conversation. Is like, listen, we're not going to have a banger open house every single open house, right? So it's you do an open house, even if one person shows up to that open house, to me that's a great open house.
That's one prospect.
That's one prospect that you have. Now there'll be weekends where nobody shows up. But again, the point is you consistently keep doing open houses. And then you look at your open house rate over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months and saying, hey, how many prospects did I meet over the last 6 months? And how many of those prospects are going to be ready clients? And how many did I actually convert?
Yeah.
Some of the newer agents or even some of the experienced agents, we track metrics like, oh, we had one shitty open house, so we're not doing open houses.
Yeah.
Well, that is not a tracker of metric. The tracker of metric would be you'd consistently do open houses. Now you've done 20 open houses over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Now you track that metric and see how that's going, right? As opposed to 1 or 2 open houses.
Yeah, 100%. If you go to one open house and you go, oh, nobody showed up, open houses don't work, that's not enough data sample size to see whether or not open houses are working.
Yeah.
You got to do it consistently. That's a great point. Do it consistently over time, and then you will have the metrics to show what is working and what's not working. Also, collect information at the open house. Get the person's first and last name, an email address, and a phone number, and some way you can actually follow up. And one of the things I actually love, at one of the open houses, I forget who I learned this from, but when a person comes in, don't just say, oh, welcome to the open house. You know what I mean? The easiest thing you can say to somebody when somebody walks in through the door is, hey, welcome to the house. What brought you in? Did you find us through did you find us online or did you see the sign? Right? Because most people say, hey, what brought you in? It's the fucking open house that brought them in. Why else do you think they came in? It's a stupid question, right? So stop asking what brought you in. Just say, hey, how'd you find us through online or did you find us through the sign? Because now you're asking an actual real question and that they'll answer. And if they say they found you online, now you have some more information to go off of. Or if they just saw a street sign, well, then they're probably a neighbor, right? And it gives you information to then bounce the conversation and then continue forward. So ask some good questions while you're there, provide some value, and then follow up with these people. Because again, these people are there to buy. They're not just, yes, sure, sometimes you'll have some people who are just kind of nosy neighbors who are going to open houses, but a lot of times these are low-hanging fruit. They're actually looking to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. And get them to sign up, right? Like as soon as you walk in, there's nothing wrong with you asking for information. No. Like they're coming to an open house, they're visiting. You can put it on the seller.
You can blame it on the seller and say, hey, look, the seller has instructed us to collect everyone's information for liability reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
You could also do giveaways.
Yeah.
We did the last open house we did an ice cream truck where we distributed flyers. We had it on open houses. People came through, and the way for you to get free ice cream was to go and sign up inside, get a ticket. Once you got a ticket, you would go and get your free ice cream, right? So you could do a giveaway, and it doesn't really need to be like a big giveaway either. You could just say, hey, I'm doing a draw for the open house winners. Make it fun for a $25 gift card for Starbucks.
Yeah.
Simple, $20, $10, whatever has come to your head. Like, people will sign up for the randomest shit. So, or you could just say like, hey, I've, all the materials that you see in front of you today, including school guides. We do that for every single of our listings. We do a customized school guide for that listing.
Yeah.
Depending on if it's a home or a condo or whatever the demographic that we're trying to target. Or the listing material, say like, hey, I'd love to email this over to you. What's the best email? Or the best phone number? And capture the information that way, and then follow up. Do something with that information.
Follow up. Make sure you have tools in place, right? Even if you have just a regular Monday.com pipe drive CRM, if you don't, probably your brokerage provides you with one that's free. Use something to track these people, right? Now, I want to end on this. One of the great things with open houses that you can do that we actually do quite well is, right before the open house, just go knock on your neighbors' doors and let them know, hey, we're doing a public open house from 2 to 4. However, for the neighbors in this area, we're doing a special neighbors only open to VIP open from 1 to 2. and it's only for neighbors, and we want you to come and check out the property, and that gives you an opportunity to talk to the neighbors to see if they're in the market to sell or if they know anybody that's looking to move there. But again, you're doing something extra special for the neighbors, and it gives you a reason to actually knock on the door and reach out.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And now the biggest topic that people talk about is like, hey, now I've got all these leads in my database. Whether a lead came from Realtor.ca lead, whether it came from an open house lead, whether you're marketing, this is your maybe not actually even your sphere that somebody gave you a number for, a referral source.
Yeah,
I think as agents for the longest time, we just take that information and we just collect it.
Yeah.
We don't do anything. We don't action it, right? And so maybe the next episode we'll just talk about some of the tools that we are using in our business to be, quote unquote, cutting edge.
Yeah.
That is allowing us to stay in front of people, that is allowing us to connect with people, that is allowing us to be top of mind all the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of AI in there.
Yeah. Well, we're super
Sid's been
excited to talk about
geeking
this.
out over the last 6 months.
Yes.
That's his wheelhouse. He's been totally geeking out. I'm
Yeah,
sure he's
that'll be
super
an exciting
excited.
episode for sure.
So maybe the next episode, that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, guys. I hope you had a great day. That's so fucking weird.
So you can find us. Yeah, no, it's a very weird outro. But anyway, let me fix it. If you want to find us on Bros Who Close on YouTube, Bros Who Close on Instagram, Bros Who Close on TikTok.
Bros Who on TikTok.
Yeah,
as
give
well.
us a follow and share this podcast with people, guys. If you're an agent, please spread the word. We're going to be sharing a lot more cool stuff over the next few weeks.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Bros Who Close.